everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of ESO Live. We're your hosts this week. I'm Gina Bruno, Assistant Community Manager.
Hello. And I'm Jessica Folsom, English Community Manager for ESO.
Before we get started, as always, we're going to go through the show lineup for today.
So first, we've got our official news recap, just in case you missed anything this week.
There's been a lot going on.
Yes.
So I hear. We're going to go through our Ask Us Anything. These are some of the questions that you asked on the forums. We'll be answering some of them.
And then we'll be talking to lead gameplay designer Chris Strauss about Update 6 on the PTS, and we'll also be going through some live gameplay with him.
After we talk to Chris, we will be doing our Life at ZOS segment with writer-designer Zach Bush.
Then we'll dive into your fan creations for ESO. Got some great drawings this time.
After that, we'll be talking with Deltia, who is one of our fan live streamers and video creators.
Then we will wrap up with our ESO community events, so you know what's going on this weekend.
There's always very exciting giveaways all throughout the show, which everybody loves, right?
Yes. Always have a few giveaways.
Yep.
So let's kick off by taking a look at the news for the past week. As Gina said, there was a lot going on this week.
Mm-hmm.
So first up, we have, let's see.
Update 6?
Yep.
It's on the PTS. Woo! This is a massive update, you guys. Like, really massive. We have the justice system in here, the champion system. Mm-hmm. We reworked so many of the abilities.
Provisioning.
It's insane. It's just insane.
Provisioning update, animation improvements.
Yep. So this has been on PTS for about a week now. Mm-hmm. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, give it a download. We are reading all of your feedback and bug reports, issues on the forums, and just all over the place. We've been watching a lot of live streamers. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't had a chance to really look at it, hop on, do a search. There's lots of people streaming all the new stuff.
And we do have some events going on the PTS starting, actually there's one today.
Yep.
The justice system testing is going on all day, just officially. You can do the justice system whenever you want, but this is the day that is the official test. And then Monday we've got the PvP event and our Crown Store testing.
Yep. So the Crown Store testing begins at 6 p.m. This is when we're going to be opening up the Crown Store for testing on the PTS. Mm-hmm. And right after that, at 7 o'clock, we'll be doing a PvP test in Cyrodiil where you can play with and against some of our developers.
So come battle against or with us, and we're probably going to die a lot. Yeah. Also, a big piece of news. Oh,
I wasn't done.
Okay.
Update 6. I was just going to say, we are planning to release patch 1.6.1 next week. We are targeting that, so we'll have some more bug fixes going in. We'll be doing the European character copy.
Yep.
Can still use templates. They'll be there, but we'll be switching over. So instead of North American character copy, it'll be European players.
Yep. So another big piece of news, if any of you missed it, was we finally announced when ESO is coming out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. That is June 9th. So pre-order now if you haven't already. And we will also be announcing when those of you who already purchased the PC version, as of June 30th, 2014, anybody who purchased the PC or Mac version will be eligible for a console transfer. So the cutoff was June 30th, 2014, and we will be emailing you if you are eligible as soon as the transfer is available.
Last piece of big news, we are switching from ESO to Tamriel Unlimited on March 17th. This is when the Crown Store is going to officially open, and all kinds of good stuff.
And ESO will be basically anybody who purchased the game can come and play at no charge, no additional charge.
If you've previously purchased the game, and moving forward, if you purchase the game, you can just hop right in and play till your heart's content.
So we hope we'll see lots of you then. If you aren't playing or if you haven't played in a while, come on back and check out Update 6.
Yeah, definitely. So we are going to do our first giveaway now. We have a flask.
Do we have it here?
Yes, here it is. Oh, and there it is on the screen also. So this is available in the Bethesda store. I think we're going to do, what was the keyword? That's why I have to write it down. Drink. with an exclamation point. Making it tricky this time. So we have it here. It's really nice leather. I actually scratched it by accident with my nail earlier. But it does come with the holder and the flask. Do you want to touch it?
Is it empty?
It's empty. Well,
Oh,
that's
nice.
what we're supposed to say. It's empty.
The clasp is magnetic. That's nice. Oh, it's even got a little strap for your belt.
Yep.
It's really
Yep.
nice.
So the key word to win this flask is drink with an exclamation point. I love watching chat because it's all drink, drink, drink. So we'll give everyone maybe a few more seconds because we know there's a little delay on Twitch. And we'll send you a brand new one, not the one we've been manhandling just now.
It's been so fun running around on PTS and watching all the people crouching around towns. There's so many. I'm sneaking.
Oh boy. Okay, so we have our winner. Infamous what, Kai? Mahaji. Thank you. You're Kai in the background yelling at us. Infamous Mahaji. So congratulations. Kai will be in touch with you on Twitch. Be sure and check your other tab because we know sometimes our messages get sent into other, I guess because we're spamming you. But yeah, Kai will be in touch. So up next, we are going to dive into our Ask Us Anything where we are going to answer all kinds of questions.
So for our Ask Us Anything, we pulled most of these questions from our official forums. We've got a thread there where we pull questions every couple weeks. But some of them have also been from like Reddit and some of our fan sites. So first up, if I buy ESO today in a box or from a certain digital game distributor, will the codes still work? Even past the date of ESO Tamriel Unlimited launch? Yes. So if you purchase a physical or digital copy of the Elder Scrolls Online today, your game code will still work. This will also be the case if you do so after March 17th. Our account system will automatically update your game to Tamriel Unlimited when you patch and log into play.
That's cool.
Yep.
Next question. Is spellcrafting still being worked on? Will it be in the game before console release? Well, spellcrafting is not actually being worked on at the moment, but it is still planned. We have worked on it quite a bit, but certain systems like Justice and Champion have kind of taken a higher priority. So, you know, that's sort of the nature of development and how things go, but we will definitely get back to it when we can.
All right, so next up, I would like to hear more on how enlightenment works. Do we have to be online to gain it? Or does everyone, regardless of time played, receive the same amount of enlightenment every 24 hours? So we actually have Chris Strauss here, our lead gameplay designer, and I'm going to let him take this one because he definitely knows a lot about that subject.
Oh, putting him on the spot.
No pressure.
Chris Strauss, everyone.
Hey everyone.
There he
So the way enlightenment works basically is every 24 hours based on the time on the server, you will get enlightenment, and that gives you accelerated experience gain. So the idea is with enlightenment that you should be able to get 1 champion point per hour, and the max in terms of the number of days you could accrue enlightenment is 3 days. So it caps out after a few days, but that's pretty much how enlightenment kind of lets you kind of keep at an even pace with your friends.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a rested system.
Yeah, it's similar to that, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just in case anyone is curious who Chris is, I see some people in chat kind of going like, who is this guy? Chris Strauss is our lead gameplay designer. So he's going to talk about that later, actually. I don't want to steal your thunder.
Yeah, we'll have his little title up on the screen a little bit later in the show.
All right, so next question. Will there be an update with another Daedric prince who will try to threaten us all?
Wouldn't that be
in the game, not in real life? Maybe. Really, anything is possible when you're developing an MMO. So if this is something that we do end up doing, we'll definitely let you know.
All right, next up. Do you use motion capture with optical systems for animations, or are you just animating by looking at video references? And what was the deciding factor for choosing this route? So we actually had some of our animation team on the show last time, but for this one, we don't currently use motion capture animation. All of our animation is hand-keyed by our animators, often using video references, some of which they take here in the studio, and they're really fun to watch.
Yeah.
So
I think we showed some of those.
Yeah, we did.
Work in
You
progress
were in one of
ones.
them.
Yes.
We chose to use the more traditional methods based on the stylized nature of our game design as it was evolving. As we look to the future, using motion capture with optical systems for certain situations is something we may consider.
That was a good answer. This is the next question, by the way. When talking about being able to stealth in NPC's notice area, does this include the Cyrodiil flag NPCs? And how about the changes to the stealth hidden eye? Does this include NPCs that are currently able to instantly spot you, such as the Cyrodiil flag NPCs? Cyrodiil actually has been completely untouched by the justice system changes in terms of stealth detection. So everything in Cyrodiil, including the guard behavior and the keeps and the resources, they function just as they did prior to Update 6.
All right, next up, will we ever see places in the game that are familiar to all fans, like Balmora, Seyda-Neen, and others? If we compare the map of the world in ESO to the map of the world in Tamriel in general, we see a lot of missing locations. In general, we certainly hope so. We want to continue expanding on ESO, adding new areas. So, in short, probably, but we don't really have a time frame for it. So, yeah, we hope so.
Why is Caltrops proccing as a melee attack? This causes Red Diamond passive, the heal, to proc without cooldown, which is kind of silly. This is a bug.
And bugs can be silly.
Yes, bugs are silly. It will be fixed before Update 6 goes live.
Yeah, part of the patch that we have going out next week is going to be fixing a lot of the bugs that players have been reporting on PTS right now.
Yes.
So thank you for your feedback. It helps us put out patches like the one coming next week. So next up, will you move some of the way shrines and guild traders to be more in line with those in Rol-Ka, where the way shrine, 5 guild vendors, bank, daily crafting, quest turn-ins, and crafting stations are all right on top of each other? So while this is a really interesting suggestion, we don't have any current plans to move them. That does require a lot of moving parts to move everything around, and kind of redo the pathing. And so, good suggestion, maybe. No current plans.
Will PvP players see new item sets like the Archmage rings for better set combinations in the future? We will be releasing new item sets in the future, but we don't have any details right now. But stay tuned. There will be some.
PvPers, you're not forgotten. We promise.
Oh, I wonder if they're playing the PvP drinking game in chat.
There's a PvP drinking game?
Yes, it's every time you say PvP. I think last time it was also then they take a shot.
No one says that.
We're going to have a very happy crowd after the show. Would it be possible to make the skeletons from the gemstone of skeletal visage race and gender specific? At the moment, you're turned into a generic male human skeleton. So that's a great suggestion, and we are going to look into the possibility of doing so in a future update. So thank you for the idea.
Will players who purchase the game on PC and are eligible to transfer to PS4 or Xbox One be able to do so by the console release date? Yes. We are going to plan to make the transfer option available to everyone who is eligible well before June happens. We will probably be contacting everyone that's eligible via email when the transfer option is actually available on our site.
So keep an eye out.
Yep.
What, if any, assurance can be offered to your current subscribers that the Crown Store won't be pushed and pointed to at every opportunity as a box sales plateau and the store becomes a larger portion of income? For those of us who associate cash shops with increasingly negative experiences within MMOs. That was a long sentence.
That was a mouthful.
So we believe that much of the negative connotation with cash shops stems from the fact that often when a game undergoes this sort of change, the game is manipulated in such a way that it makes it less fun unless you spend money in the store. This is not the approach we want to take. We might offer things that relieve some in-game friction, but we won't be adding to the friction in the game. We will continue to develop items for the Crown Store that sell for convenience and customization. We operate under the philosophy that the more people participating in longer play sessions with friends and just enjoying the game, the more opportunities there will be for people to find something that they may want to purchase in the Crown Store. Our plan is to stock the store with offerings that make our players excited to invest and further their experience. We understand that many will simply buy the game and play the base game, and that's it, and that's great too. Everything's adding to the community, so
Right.
more people, more community, great.
That was like the best answer ever. Mine are all short, yes, no. So this one's kind of a fun one. Why can't we build campfires with all the wood we cut?
Sorry.
That's a good question.
This is a good question. I have the same question. I am looking forward to this answer.
Well, CJ, we don't actually have any specific plans for something like this, but we really like to hear different ideas like this from players. So keep the suggestions coming.
What would you do with it?
With
Yeah,
with
if
the
you could-
wood we cut,
Yeah, if you could make a campfire out of it.
I would make
Use it to-
s'mores. Tamrielic
Fire
s'mores.
with my enemies in PvP.
Or maybe
Light
maybe
them
it could
on
be
fire.
like a portable cooking.
Right. Portable little provisioning.
Oh yeah, like a little
Yeah.
portable crock pot.
I like that. If new zones are going to scale to your level, does that mean that they will be instanced and that and that we therefore won't be able to see any other players if we're not grouped? No, it does not mean that new zones will be instanced. We'll release details when we're a little closer to releasing the new zones.
All right, going back to console questions. If we are allowed to copy our characters to Xbox One, can we then go back to PC and continue to play that account? Do I pay for 2 different subs for Xbox and PC? So if you're eligible to transfer your character from PC or Mac to PS4 or Xbox One, your characters will be copied. So basically you'll have a character on PC or Mac, depending on what you're playing, and then a copy on either PS4 or Xbox One. You are going to need a PC Mac account and also a PS4 or an Xbox One account. They are basically, for all intents and purposes, separate. So if you choose to purchase an ESO Plus membership, you're going to need one for your PC account and then one for your console account, PS4 or Xbox One.
Will you offer new motifs in the Crown Store? New motifs are currently being discussed for future DLC that will be offered in the Crown Store. So in that way, yes. As to whether or not we'll offer motifs a la carte, that has not yet been decided.
Here's a long question. Will bounties from one faction area carry over to another? I play Ebonheart Pact and would not like to be known as a criminal in that faction and still want people to speak to me in that faction. If I think that's supposed to say go. If I go to a DC area and rack up a bounty, will I only be seen as a criminal there, and will I only have a bounty when in that faction's area? All right, sorry, the line break was kind of whatever. Anyway, so bounties in ESO are universal, but they are not account-wide. So this means that if one of your characters has a bounty, that they're going to have a bounty everywhere in Tamriel. We kind of went back and forth on this a little bit, but in the end we felt like it was a little too easy to game the system without any consequences if bounties were not universal.
So if you do something bad in one city, they're going to tell the next city over.
You are bad.
Those guards will hunt you down.
You're bad.
All right, this is our last question. Is Hrothgar, which we are actually calling Orsinium now, right?
Yep.
Is Hrothgar still going to be a solo zone? Is Murkmire still going to be a group zone? Hrothgar will be a zone very much like Aradon, Rivenspire, others like that. However, it won't have a level requirement. Murkmire, I think Murkmire is still going to be a group zone. Do you know
Believe so.
that for sure, Chris?
I believe so, but I'm not 100% certain.
Okay. I realize I don't have an answer for that one. All right, so that wraps up our questions and answers. So next up, we are going to dive into talking to Chris a little bit more about Update 6 and doing some live gameplay. We've actually got Kai off screen. He's going to help us out with this segment. Okay. So before we get started, I just want to mention we will be having a live Q&A with Chris after this. So I know some of you have already been giving your questions on Twitch. If you've got any others for Chris, he's our lead gameplay designer. Just put them in the chat and we'll go over them at the end of this segment.
Definitely ask away and we'll answer anything we could.
So Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess before we get started with all the Update 6 stuff, do you want to explain a little bit about what lead gameplay designer means and sort of what you do?
Sure. So basically I work with the systems, combat, and UI team, and we work together to kind of add all the gameplay, new systems that support the content that players are kind of familiar with, like Justice and the collection system and Champion and so forth. So as lead gameplay designer, I kind of work with those three groups within the design department, as well as the art leads and the programming leads. So we try to bring it together to a finished product. I look at the community for any kind of questions or feedback they have on the forums. We get together with the leads of those groups and try to address all the concerns that get brought up, and just try to make sure that the overall experience that players kind of go through is polished, is fun. What can we add to the game? We're constantly looking at that. We're constantly playing the game, and really it's just kind of ensuring that we continue to have as high quality as we could for all the systems and content going into the game.
Great.
Nice. I just realized we're doing the official ZeniMax sit position.
Yeah. It's just more comfortable. Like that.
It works.
It helps make it so you don't slouch.
Well, we may as well dive into all the things that are in Update 6. I know you wanted to focus a little bit on kind of the smaller things and not the big systems that people already know about, like Justice, Champion.
So on the screen now, we've got character loaded up in the new tutorial. You want to walk us through that?
Sure, yeah. So one of the things we realized is, we've been talking about all these great new large features that are on PTS and coming with Update 6. But there's actually a lot of smaller things within those larger systems, as well as just kind of separate, in terms of UI, camera, and other additions that we added to the game. So, as an example, Kai's here playing in the new tutorial. One of the things we know players have really kind of wanted to be able to control further is your camera. So with Update 6, you could change your third-person camera, so you could change the vertical and horizontal position. You can change field of view. We have added in more camera bob for first person, kind of make it feel a little bit more anchored into the world, as well as some dynamic field of views when you're sprinting, when you're blocking, just kind of try to really pull you into the world more. And one of the other smaller things that some people may not notice is previously when you were dealing with your camera, you didn't actually see the camera being changed in real time. So you would have to kind of adjust it, fumble around, go back into the game, and then go back into the camera settings. So now we try as best as we could, show you what, if you're in third person, first person, show you what changes you're making. So really just trying to kind of give more control to the player. And same thing with like the camera bob, if some people are more sensitive to that, we have a slider. If you wanted to crank it all the way down, you could crank it down. If you want to turn off the dynamic field of view, so you don't see that field of view change, you could turn that off completely. So that's just a small thing that we've added, but it's just continuing to like polish up and some of the experience and bring more immersion when you're playing in first person and control to the player.
So more options are definitely great.
Yes.
So now can I center the camera behind my character now?
Yeah, you could.
That's great.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's something that we've seen a lot.
Yeah, I know several players and threads on the forums have talked about that. So.
For a while now.
Right.
And a better FOV adjustments too.
Yeah, so trying to kind of make that sprint feel a little bit more visceral, kind of actually feel like you're sprinting, similar to the other Elder Scrolls games. So Kai's kind of running through some of the new tutorial here, and it really feels, it just feels so epic. one of the things we tried to focus on also was trying to do a better job of kind of teaching the player about the core experience of the combat. So when you're fighting enemies like this one right here, we'll actually pause, so to speak, the in-game action and kind of teach you what do you have to press to block, what do you have to press to interrupt, how do you bash a target, you know, so, or I'm sorry, block a target. So those different kind of key components of combat we try to really integrate further into the tutorial.
I like
there's
this
just a
moment.
Yeah, it's really
Very
good.
cinematic.
Yep, you know, there's all these little cinematic vignettes, as we call them, that really try to just kind of sell you in terms of what's going on in the world, what you're trying to break free of. So that's, you know, that's kind of been the overall goal, you know, try to get the combat and the experience and anchor the player further into the storyline as much as we could.
I see you made Lyris break you out now too. That's a cool change.
Yeah, we wanted to kind of build up that dynamic a little bit more with Lyris and the player and the Prophet and that whole exchange that happens.
So what is this new blue glow we're seeing around the screen now?
So the blue glow basically happens when the combat is paused to kind of give you an indication that, hey, you have to execute a move, and you'll see the tooltip at the HUD message at the bottom of the screen that kind of tells you, hey, this is how you charge up attack, or this is how you block an attack. And, you know, we still try to hold on to the parts of the tutorial that we thought, you know, were equally important: the world interactivity, the conversation choices, and everything else. So it's kind of a restructuring and a new take on how we wanted to present the tutorial to the player that I think came out really great.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of feedback coming in from the tutorial. Seems like everyone's really digging it.
I love this part here, you know, just
let's all take a moment of silence for this poor soul.
Oh, there he goes.
That's a rough day. So right now, Kai's playing in third person, which you can see some of the animations have been updated. Well, actually, a lot of the animations have been updated for combat for all the weapons. When we go look at Justice a little bit further, you'll see we updated Crouch. And, you know, we're looking at all the feedback on the forums related to that. You know, there's been a lot of great feedback on it. You know, we've seen some constructive feedback in terms of how some of the weapons feel a little bit different than players were expecting, which, you know, we're monitoring. I know the two-hand sword was one that kind of came up. Yeah, that some players thought, you know, by making the speed a little bit quicker, it lost some of the weight. So we're looking at all that feedback and looking at, you know, what are we actually going to revise or change at all based on that.
That is a great loading screen.
Yes, that's another, you know, addition to 1.6 is that, you know, there's been a lot of new loading screens added to the game, just more detail overall to some of the concept art that you'll see. They've just done a really beautiful job. And even going through this part here, you know, it's familiar to players that have gone through the tutorial in the past, but there's just a little bit more kind of a cinematic feel to it, just with the way the prisoners are set up and the way you see the prisoners kind of being shackled into certain furniture. I'm trying to think of the piece that it's called. It's basically like
fixtures.
Yeah, the fixtures that are out in the world. So they really just tried to kind of sell the whole idea of like, hey, I want to escape Cold Harbor.
All right, so looks like you guys are fighting Clan Fear here.
Right. Yeah. So right now we're making our way back up to where the Sentinel is, and kind of keeping in line with the whole idea of we wanted to kind of teach the player, you know, as much about the game as we could. We felt that we never kind of taught stealth as clearly as we wanted to, and especially since that's a pretty big component of Justice if you're trying to pickpocket and sneak around. We kind of integrated that further into the tutorial. So right here, you'll see Kai's going to sneak up on the Sentinel, and Lyris is there following along. So he's going to try and kind of sneak up and do an attack.
This is quite literally a don't get seen moment, huh?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I'm nervous.
One shot.
Quickly, while he's blinded, we must get to the
So that's pretty familiar to kind of players that have already run through, but it just kind of feels a little bit more integrated into teaching the player the mechanics of what they need to do. So moving forward, moving further down the hill here, players that played the old Cold Harbor will kind of remember, the old tutorial will kind of remember the experience of going up the stairs and talking with Lyris, and it didn't quite sell the overall feel, so
That is really cool.
now it's presented much more in an epic way. And the overall experience is just kind of, it's a lot more solid, I think.
So you can still get other weapons and equipment
yeah,
in
so
this tutorial, just like you did last time?
yes, so I know some players were asking, well, you know, I liked the player choice that was there in the tutorial. We basically, what we did was we started out with the two-hand sword because we just wanted to kind of start with a weapon that we knew the player would have as we're tutorializing each of the combat mechanics. But all those weapons are still in the tutorial itself. So you can still pick up, you know, the bow and the mace and other weapons and be able to actually leave the tutorial with those weapons intact.
Okay.
And turning around this bend here, we'll actually hit one of the doors that is locked for a player. So now that we have locked doors, we thought, well, hey, we'll kind of teach you about locked doors as well as lock picking.
Oh, that's
So,
nice. I know
yeah,
that's
so it's
something that's
Yep.
sometimes tough, your
Right.
first go.
So we'll see how Kai does here. He's not actually playing with, he's not playing with any sound. So, but he's pretty good at it still.
Yeah, that is good. Sound is definitely the
Yes.
trick.
I mean, we intended that to be part of the lockpicking. We wanted you to actually use, you know,
To hear the
sound,
tumbler
hear the
shaking.
tumbler shaking, right, and try to match that up with the visuals. This area is another area that we've kind of cleaned up, where previously it was a little bit too confusing trying to get through the caverns because there was a lot of different loops and circles. Excuse me. So we still kind of kept some of the side chambers that you could go into, and there's these new fire traps, but it's a little bit easier to kind of navigate throughout and try to find your way through, and you still have chests around and different loot for players to pick up.
God of self-punishment.
And a dagger.
See, so there's another weapon that you've picked up.
I always get a few when I pick these tutorials.
Yeah.
Usually
yeah.
a whole armor set too.
Right, and
Change out of your pajama pants.
and I think I mean I haven't timed it personally, but it feels a little bit shorter from the old one, which
It does.
is kind of gets you with a new character. If you want to go through it, you can still go through or skip it like we've always had, but it kind of gets you into the open game that much more. Being able to kind of just get out of the tutorial
It's still a
if you've
great way
already
to get
gone through it and
lockpicks.
know the mechanics. Right. Right. Yeah. Especially with all the things that you can now pick, and break into houses and the safe boxes.
All the traps.
They did a great job on the effects and just the overall, like the visuals, really outstanding. So this is
Prophet's cage should be
the
just ahead.
profit
Now, we haven't
cell
much time.
that has been changed up from how it was previously, and you still have Lyris kind of showing up here and you're talking with her, but the exchange and the actual interactions is it's pretty epic. So kind of let Kai play through here a little bit.
Oh, spoiler alert.
If you haven't played this, don't watch. That sigil's new.
Yes.
That's great looking.
Yeah, so what ends up happening is they're starting the exchange, and you have some Daedra that kind of come in that you have to fight.
I've got my money on Kai.
Yep.
Think he can make it. And yeah, now it actually charges up those
pinions.
those pinions on the side. So just really trying to kind of like connect everything to the world more. And after Kai takes that one, we'll actually unlock the Prophet's cell and do the actual exchange. And this is one of my favorite parts coming up here.
But Lyris has to take his place, huh?
Right.
No, Lyris, no. It's okay, we'll come back for her later, right?
Maybe. I can neither confirm nor deny.
That is the name I have given you. That is what the anchors are named. Up the stairs, quick.
All right, so it looks like they're about out of Cold Harbor.
Right. They're making their way out. Now that you have the Prophet intact, we're going to go try to escape and get out of this area and try to work with the Prophet. So
some of the things Kai's picking up right now, I see, are the new provisioning items. So you can get those as early as in the tutorial.
Right, and we've done a whole pass on provisioning in 1.6. I know it's been featured, in previous articles, and it definitely makes a difference in terms of the number of items you have in inventory. And we've done a pass on all the recipes.
That's nice. I think at one point about 80% of my inventory was
right
provisioning items.
Food items.
Yeah, we'll actually touch on provisioning in a little bit here once we get out of the tutorial, because you'll find you can actually use fish now, which is pretty cool.
That is awesome.
I mean, it was always fun to fish and get the trophy fish, but we wanted to kind of integrate it. Right, we wanted to integrate it into that the actual provisioning system itself. So,
Kai, you've gotten several level ups.
Down. So yeah, that we're coming towards the tail end of the tutorial here. Get the Prophet and pick up your Sky Shard. This is similar to how it was previously, but for those who may not have seen it, new players checking out the Twitch stream, you pick up your Sky Shard, the first that you come across, and the Prophet helps you to get out of Cold Harbor.
Great Akatosh.
Probably one of the coolest ways to escape a prison in any Elder Scrolls game, huh?
Yeah. Probably on par with Shawshank Redemption.
Let the will of Moloch Baal be denied.
So what are we going to take a look at next?
Sure, yeah. So next what we're going to do is basically we're going to go to Windhelm. And for the sake of players, instead of having to level up all the way to Windhelm levels, we have another character set up that Kai will be logging in with.
Okay.
So while he does that, I'll just kind of go over a little bit of some of the things we're going to be checking out. So the justice system, I know we've kind of talked a little bit about it, about the overall philosophy and idea of what we wanted to do with the justice system itself. And it really just adds another layer of interactivity to the world and really kind of makes it feel more like, even more like an Elder Scrolls experience. And
it's easy to just do it for hours.
Right. There's quite a bit to it, in terms of everything being owned and sneaking around, getting the different ingredients if you want for provisioning.
Yep.
Or if you want to just go to the grocers, you could purchase, some of those ingredients as well. From pickpocketing, there's a lot we've actually done in terms of the itemization that comes with the pickpocketing of NPCs, which I'll kind of go into a little bit more here. But okay, great. So it looks like he is logged in. And so we're in Windhelm here, and you can see, for those that haven't been on PTS, there's a lot more in terms of objects that are actually owned than there was previously, because we didn't have a concept of them. So as you're exploring, you'll kind of see, just like that crate there, they'll show up with the red prompts, similar to other of the Elder Scrolls
there's guards
games.
walking by.
And we've done a lot more in terms of the pathing that happens with NPCs. So there's more NPCs in all the cities to help support the justice system. There is pathing that is going on in addition to what they were already doing previously. And this is so that we can give players the opportunity to pickpocket, to sneak around, to try to figure out what's the way to kind of get to that NPC that I want to come across and try to steal their items without getting caught. So right there, you'll see kind of Kai pickpocketed. I can't make that out from here.
Troon, a fish.
Oh yes, it's a fisherman. So that kind of goes into thematically, we're not just putting random items on NPCs. There's actually, I think, there's 25 different kind of themes depending on the characters that you're looting. There was just so many that that I was trying to just kind of wrangle my head around all of that, because like you could come across a bard and they'll have different items from a fisherman, from a nobleman, from even werewolves and vampires. They're going to have really unique items, and the lore of these items just kind of matches up with the quest lines in our game, and even the more rare items in our game have that you can steal across. There's some funny ones, yeah.
So I noticed the first time he stole something, the Ledgerman's skill line popped up.
Yes. So once you've certain of the activities in the justice system will actually unlock the skill line, but this is basically centered around the justice system. So it's got different passives like reducing the stamina cost for some of the actions in the justice system, increasing the amount of items that you can launder and sell, which we'll kind of show off in a little bit here, reducing the bounty costs when you're paying a guard. So it's just an alternate form of being able to kind of like advance your character in this style of gameplay if you'd like to. And I believe it will get unlocked if you're like breaking and entering, if you get an item that you steal or pickpocket.
Hey, there's somebody getting attacked behind him. We are live on the PTS, folks.
Yes. Right. And so the white halo that or the white glow that you kind of see around NPCs basically signifies that they're what we call justice neutral. And that means you attack them at your own risk. They're attackable. They're different from just normal neutrals because justice neutral means, hey, they're within the confines of law, this domain of law here. So you better watch out when you're attacking because
this guy is a death wish.
There's a witness, you will be chased. Yeah, this guy looks like he's just gonna.
Oh gosh.
He's doing a good job surviving though.
He's not gonna win.
It really is. So what we're going to do here is another thing that we didn't touch too much on in the past is that you actually break and enter into a lot of different buildings. So this manor here, you can see actually in the lockpicking interface at the bottom there, it's showing you if you're going to be detected or not now. So we added that to lockpicking because you can still get detected while you're lockpicking. So you have to kind of be careful if a guard is around that will witness you. So right now we're inside this manor, and I don't know if the players can hear the audio with this feed.
Yeah.
They could? Yeah. Okay. You may or may not hear it depending on how we approach the NPCs, but the NPCs actually do react to you breaking into their houses,
As well
to you
they
gaining
should.
bounty, right, to gaining bounty, to if you're being just a serial killer and running through. So they do actually have these reactions that really kind of tries to sell you more on the idea of this law that's going on within the world.
There's another person in there.
So we're going to work our way up and check out what's on the top floor of this building. And there's a citizen just doing daily chores, and there's different items up here that are owned that we could steal. So we're going to check out what's over in this cabinet or dresser over here. And that, I think that was just moonstone. So depending on where you're looking, sometimes it's normal items. That one looks like it's empty, and that one looks like it's empty. So it depends on which items you come across, and you still kind of have to make sure you time it so that the NPC is not around. But we theme the items as well relevant to what is actually what actually makes sense. And it looks like this particular building may have had some of the items, the safe box, stolen. But depending on the building you go into, you'll actually come across safe boxes. Safe boxes have even rarer items that you can come across, and they are also themed to kind of the building that they're in. So we really tried to do a lot of anchoring of the fiction, the lore, the look of the items with the safe box items themselves. Or I'm sorry, with the building that they're in themselves. And I believe later on you guys will have Zach on, and he could go into a little bit of the fiction behind some of those.
Yeah, he did a lot of writing for the justice system.
Yeah, he did a lot of that. So right now, I'm surprised Kai has 0 bounty. So he's actually
I think maybe he's done this before.
Yeah. But we have another big addition that kind of came up that we were excited about, but didn't realize that a lot of the players would be excited about. Is we have clothes now, so you can get these clothes that you could steal from the citizens of the world, and what ends up you got caught. So yeah, depending on
I
your
see
bounty.
what's happening. The bounty meter is
Yes.
hidden behind our website.
Okay. Yeah, so the
It's
bounty
there.
meter is on the bottom right, and there's basically these two bars. One is the red bar and one is white. And heat, which is the red bar, is, think of it as like how your immediate reactions are going to play out with the guards. So the higher your heat, the more likely they're going to actually chase you down and try to arrest you. Or if you get it too high, they'll just outright go and try to kill you. And the white bar is essentially your bounty. And that over time decays so that you can, get back to a state of being a law-abiding citizen, so to speak. But yeah, back to the clothing. The cool thing about the clothing is like you could dye them, and it's just adds more customization to the player. But you have to be careful because if you don't launder it, which is what we're doing down here,
And that doesn't
in the
mean
Outlaws
wash it.
Refuge. Yes, does not mean wash it. If you don't launder it and you get killed by a guard, it will be taken off you. So you could take these, you could get these items, you could launder them to keep, or you could sell them. And then you can sell it, to other guilds on the guild trade NPCs.
There was a great thread on the ESO subreddit about a corseted top
Yes.
that the players found.
Oh, I
and
saw
they
that
loved
one.
it. Anybody can wear it. There's no race or gender restrictions.
Right. Right.
So that's
Yep.
nice with the
Yeah.
clothing.
Anyone can wear it. And so what Kai's doing here is you'll see the little hand there is just kind of telling you that hey, it's stolen, and we're kind of looking at hey, what are all the different things that we've stolen up until this point? And I have seen feedback on the forums of some people saying, hey, I kind of wish I could kind of organize stolen items separately.
Oh.
It's not on our immediate plans, but it's something I think that was a good suggestion, and I think it's something that I'd like to see if we could look into. But yeah, so the Outlaws Refuge, they are basically in all the major cities. They show up on the map. They've got a symbol near the entrances that actually lead to them, and there's multiple entrances going in. And what's cool about these areas is they have the fence, and the fence will let you basically.
Oh boy, it's a party in
Going on
there.
with that one.
Wow, everyone's having a blast. But the fence will let you either choose to just outright steal it or just remove that kind of stolen tag on it. So the other cool thing about the fence is you can actually pay off your bounty. So let's say it's really high and you're just having this time where you can't get to
Just can't deal with it
through
anymore.
you just can't deal with it, and you want to you're like, hey, I just kind of want to make a wash of it. So you could go down to the fence and just clear that out with a gold.
Is that the
gold
same you'd
cost.
pay to a guard?
Trying to recall offhand. I believe it is. So what's going on here is Kai's just kind of selling off some of these goods, and he'll kind of choose which ones he wants to keep. But yeah, the second tab is a launder, so hey, decides he wants to keep a recipe versus selling it. So you can kind of control how you want to handle that. And there's a limit, in terms of how many items you could sell, which is separate from how many items you could launder. But with that skill line, you can increase that limit. And that limit kind of decays over time. And now that you have costumes, you can kind of equip the things that you've stolen. Wow, it's going crazy.
I know in chat everyone's like, "Where's Kai? We need to find him."
Right.
Oh no,
The other really cool thing.
this is awesome.
The other cool thing is there's guild traders down in these areas, so we kind of feel like that's probably going to be a pretty competitive NPC that guilds go after.
Oh, this is why going on to a live server is fun.
Escape. So he's going to try to basically exit the refuge and go out into the wilderness. So we're going to take the south exit here.
So there's
We'll
one of
come up
these
outside of the
in
mountain.
every town, or just the major towns?
Just the major towns. Okay. And there's another newer
load screen.
version of the load screen, yeah.
I love that one.
Everyone in chat is, "Run, Kai, run!"
Did we have a pool on how long it would take everyone to go?
Oh, we should
We
have.
should have done a pool.
Oh man, it's bonus points if you find him and photobomb him.
Yep. Start jumping on his head.
All right, so
So another thing I just kind of wanted to mention is some players just don't want to attack the justice neutral NPCs. So we do have an option that lets you opt out of at least opt out of attacking. So if you go under the gameplay section, there's it's grayed out right now, but it's prevent attacking innocents. And if you turn that on, you won't accidentally hit, justice neutral NPCs.
Yeah.
You still would be able to steal actual items, but that is hilarious.
This is amazing.
great.
Kai's loving it. He's like, that's right. That's right.
That's a demo right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to turn off, that the attacking of the
we've actually gotten feedback that a lot of people didn't know that option was there,
Right,
and they
yeah.
they were like, "Oh, that's really useful. I need to turn it on."
Right. It's on by default because we feel like it adds a lot to the game, but for people that don't want to necessarily do the killing part, they can turn that on. So yeah, back to provisioning. What we're going to try to do is find a spot here to fish, and we did add. Yeah, it's been a little bit tricky in this area. It's just so
It's busy.
frigid. Fish aren't surviving.
We got a lot of people on the PTS for midday on a Friday. What
Yeah.
are you guys all doing? I saw fish. Oh, I saw
Oh,
fish.
there they are. No. Oh, wait. Man, I can't
That
see
was a
from
torch
back there.
bug.
That wasn't fun.
Oh no.
There you
Pure
go.
water.
Thought that was a fishing hole.
I did too.
Well, worst case, we have some backup fish
Yeah.
because everyone carries fish in their pockets.
Don't you?
All the time. I wonder why people don't want to kind of come up to me and say hello. But,
See you in the
So-
hall, and I'm like, oh man, here
so
comes this person.
yeah. So we have fish now in Kai's inventory. Couldn't find a spot to fish, but basically the fish you can get now, you can actually. We still have the trophy fish that you can collect, but we actually use this fish now in provisioning. So you will. I don't know if it would necessarily be called skinning the fish as much as gutting the fish, but you can use that meat now for the new provisioning recipes. So for the sake of brevity, we'll actually just jump directly to the stables, which are near the inn, and we can go a little bit further into the mount as well as the new provisioning changes, or we can just beeline to there.
He doesn't want to lose his followers.
Yeah.
He's got to keep fit. Getting his exercise.
And the trophy fish, actually, they definitely have more value now than they did in the past as well.
As far as selling,
Yes.
that's good to know. Can they be used in provisioning or no?
I believe they're separated out. Yeah.
Okay.
So with the 1.6 update, we've actually changed the way your mounts use skills in relation to your own character. So if you go to a stable master now and you actually click on stables, you'll see that there is no longer stable slots that you had on mounts. What we do now is in the collection system that we introduced, you actually have all your mounts that you've gained will be available across your entire account. So when you go to the stable master, what ends up happening, and you can see there's the collection system kind of showing, hey, here's the different mounts that are available to you. And what we do now is instead on the stable master, you could interact, and just like you could upgrade your individual mounts, you could upgrade the riding skill on your character. So it just makes it gives a little more flexibility for how the players want to use that.
So if I want to use this mount this day or this mount
Right.
another day, I'll still have the same skills.
Right, exactly.
And it's per character?
It is per character. The riding skill is per character. The mounts themselves, the visual is on an account-wide basis. And we didn't attack any of those goats there, but like part of the provisioning updates that we've done, I don't know where we're at.
He went to Craglorn.
Okay. Part of the provisioning changes we've done actually has added meat added game to the different livestock and animals that you come across. So that's used in provisioning as well. Like all the livestock now have.
That's a crime,
game
though,
on it.
right? To kill somebody's livestock.
It depends. I mean, if you're caught and if you're you're actually within an area that has the owner around and law around, then yeah. But there's creatures out, there's animals out in the wild as well that will give you that game that you could freely attack.
What is it?
And we've touched on this a little bit, but you won't see kind of that weird oddness where you go to loot apples and instead you get something completely
Like
unrelated.
a cabbage or something.
Right.
Right.
So we've tried to kind of map everything as much as possible to what you would just kind of naturally expect with
So
the
in
different
towns,
fruit
are
and
all
produce.
provisioning items
So
stolen or no?
I'm sorry?
Are all provisioning items in towns typically things you have to steal?
So a lot of the provisioning ingredients are owned, so you do have to steal them. There are a lot of the ingredients as well on the grocers that you can purchase.
Okay.
If you go out into the wild, you'll find a lot of these items are also available
for if you don't want to steal.
For if you don't want to steal them. Yeah, exactly. And we've talked about, we've seen some feedback related to how that's kind of changed some of the dynamic of how you get the ingredients, and that's something we're talking about internally on how if any way we're going to be addressing that. So we are kind of looking at the feedback related to that. So here's an example of one of the new recipes that Kai has learned, and
That sounds
it's pan-fried
delicious.
trout. It does sound delicious. So there's one of the pieces of fish that Kai had magically found in his inventory. And yeah, so that's just kind of a run through of some of the smaller changes or smaller components of the larger systems we have in there. And there's just so much to 1.6 that we've added. Like, didn't even get a chance to really kind of go into it, but we actually have rotten food. So if you see moldy, rotten food out in the world, you could pick that up and you'll get sick.
If you eat it.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of
about right.
little touches that we've kind of added, and a number of. I'm trying to kind of. I tried to jot down some of the other little changes. We've done several fixes to potions, tried to make them clearer in terms of their tooltips, various UI tweaks. Guild message of the day now will actually broadcast all the guild members. So when the message actually changed, you can kind of log in and see, oh, it's kind of been updated. You can weapon swap now while you're on mounts, which I know a lot of people are excited about.
Yeah.
We improved some of the ground targeting behavior, and I don't know if everyone's had a chance to play with it, but basically it will stop. It will prevent you from going out beyond the legal ranges of ground targeted abilities, but even that, for people that like the old system, you could toggle it off. So
That's in the gameplay
right
section of the menu.
Yep, it's in the gameplay section. I'm pretty sure it's the gameplay section. It may be under controls, but I'm trying to remember. It's in I think where
It's in
the
gameplay,
targeting
yeah.
section is. But and we've fixed a ton of bugs as well. Little things like, hey, sometimes the POI icons would reappear after you completed them, and or my group mates, icons would disappear from the world for no reason. So we just kind of added a ton of content in addition to bug fixes and quality of life things that we try to address based on player feedback. So
Cool.
Nice.
Well, that is a lot of stuff added
That
to the
was a
game.
lot.
yeah.
And thank you, Kai. I think you have a fan club now.
They want to know why you don't want any friends with you. As we mentioned earlier, we are going to be taking some questions. If you have anything for Chris, gameplay related. Chris is not Eric Roble. We're not really going to be focusing a lot on little minute details about each ability, but
we could talk to to Eric about being on in the next show.
Oh, definitely.
Right. And we are looking at all the feedback related to all the ability tweaks that we've done. You know, I know sorcerers have had, especially a lot of
concerns.
feedback regarding their class, and Eric and the whole combat group is basically looking at all that, and we've already got some changes, planned for the next patch.
Yeah.
So.
There's one question here from Wooden Villain.
Okay.
Asking if there's any plans for disguises and trophies to be added to the collection system. This is something I know we've
Right.
kind of been seeing on the forums a little bit. And,
Right. Yeah.
the only thing we really had in the patch notes was, hey, heads up, it's not currently in.
Right. It's definitely something we'd like to add. It's a little bit trickier when it comes to the disguises because those are integrated with the content in a unique way. They have functionality, and we have some challenges with, well, what happens if they're supposed to be consumed, so what happens if it's now permanently in your collection system? So we've toyed around with a few different ideas, giving you a collection version of the disguise, as well as possibly figuring out a way to make that actually work, the disguises themselves in the collection system. But it's not off our radar. It's definitely something we'd like to do. We know it frees up the inventory, but nothing immediately that we can announce right now.
And same with trophies.
Same with trophies. Yeah.
Okay.
Someone else was asking if we'll ever have like a preview function of armor and weapon in game to kind of see what you would look like before you
That'd be
commit.
great.
Right. So that's a great question. We actually have some preview-related tech that is in the game. When the Crown Store opens up, when you're looking at the different pets and mounts, you can actually preview what they look like. And it's something we've talked about, hey, how can we leverage, using that as well for crafting, for armor previewing.
Yep.
I want to see how this...
Inspecting other players. There's a little bit more challenge when it comes to something like crafting because we have you framed a certain way and the actual character is cropped a good deal. But that's not to say we can't, figure out a way to like change the framing when you go into a preview mode. So it's definitely something that we've discussed internally, and it's something we'd like to do, but it's not in the immediate future.
Sure.
There's just some technology and some design considerations that we have to kind of work out through something like that. But yeah.
So kind of talking about the next patch that we're going to be releasing, we have been reading a lot of feedback on the forums, different potential issues, and I kind of just wanted to touch on a few things that we're looking at. I know there's a lot of things, so this isn't
There's
everything.
a lot. Yeah.
One of the things is bag capacity changes with writing will cause you to lose items.
Right. So, yeah, especially with the conversion of the old mount system to the new one, we identified an issue that basically was causing your bag max capacity to not match up with what you would expect. And as a result, you ended up having the potential to lose some items. So we've fixed that and figured out what the cause was with that. And the intent is not to lose the bonuses that you've had previously with your mounts. That's still coming over when you kind of convert to this new system. So if you had I'm trying to think, like if you had 60 capacity, that's what it will convert over to with this new system. So we basically take the base attribute that you've actually advanced on your mount and use that in combination with what any of the base stats are on the mount. And the highest of all the mounts that you have across your characters, across the character, is what actually gets applied to that character's riding skills. So you're not losing out on anything. You're just gaining all of the highest stat that you could have for each of those attributes.
Cool.
Yep.
Something else we've seen in terms of justice, some players are getting bounty by resurrecting or healing other players.
Right. So we are looking at that internally. It is feedback that we definitely saw. If you put a hot on a guy, that sounds funny. If you put a healing over time on a guy,
Acronyms, yay.
or on a friendly citizen or group mate, and then they go out and then end up becoming a criminal, you kind of get,
While the
a
heal
bounty
over time is
on
still
your
ticking
character.
on them.
Right. Yeah. So we're looking at ways to address that. Same thing with like resurrection. We're going to make it clear, hey, when you're resurrecting a criminal, this is, we talked about like, well, let's make the prompt there red. We do that for everything else that's a criminal action. Why
Right.
not do the same thing? So yes, we're definitely gathering all that feedback, looking at all the posts, and trying to make sure that the consequences of all the actions are clear, and to make it so that when you shouldn't get the consequence for just being just a regular player, that
So
you
that
won't.
it doesn't come out of the blue and you're surprised
Right.
by it.
Exactly.
What else do we have here? Sorcerers.
Yes.
There've been a lot of posts from sorcerers.
Right. So I talked to Eric actually before this,
Yeah.
and because we were syncing up on some of the sorcerer changes, and there's several updates with the next patch, and he's been reading all the feedback from the players on the forums, and there's several changes we've done for the sorcerer, like the Daedric Curse and Daedric Mines, making those have more damage, as well as reduce the cooldown timer on Surge. So we're looking at all that feedback and basically just trying to make sure we could address the feedback that the players have. And it's still going through balancing. That's part of the PTS process. Is we try to do our own internal tests and try to get the numbers as close to where we want, but
I'm gonna
sometimes-
do an office thing, and this is why your feedback is very important.
Yes.
Please
Yes.
keep testing
We
and sharing your
do
feedback
read
with us.
it.
We do, but yeah, all that feedback that's one of the best parts of PTS, is being able to actually get that feedback, address it, and then kind of polish even further the experience that we want to deliver for all the classes and any system that kind of goes in there.
Kind of staying with the combat theme, we know there's also been some werewolf CC issues.
Yes,
No
and-
CC immunity, no break free.
Yep, those should be fixed with the next patch.
Okay.
Oh, excellent.
Next week.
Yes.
Great.
There's always a lot of questions about housing, whether it's player housing or guild housing.
Yeah.
Didn't know if you
Well,
had any
it's-
comments.
we have a list of things that we would love to add to the game. Housing is definitely on one of the top things that we feel would be awesome to add. We're not working on it at the moment. It's not something that we have details that we can announce, but it's definitely something we would like to
Still
add.
on the want to do list.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Great.
Thanks so much for
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
coming down. This was a whole
Thanks.
lot of
That was
stuff.
a great playthrough,
And,
and thank you to all of our PTS.
Hope to see you all
Oh my
on there.
gosh, they were cracking me up. PTS players?
Extras.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of the word.
Fan club, maybe?
Red shirts.
Yeah. That was
That works.
fantastic.
What are we doing? I guess a giveaway.
Yeah.
Let's do one more giveaway.
Right before our Life Exhaust segment.
Yep.
Is it another flask?
It's not another flask.
No.
This is going to be a hoodie. So we featured these during the last show. The Bethesda store has some really cool hoodies from each of the alliances. So we're going to be giving away one of these. It'll be your choice, which one you get. The keyword is going to be hoodies,
Oh, with an S.
plural, since, there's a choice of 3 hoodies. Makes
So these
sense?
are for all 3. So I think on the picture there we had the Nord in the middle. There we go. The Breton in the center and the Altmeri
Yep.
there on the right.
I actually just got my Old Mary one delivered today. It's
Very
so
nice.
comfy. It's awesome. So chat's going crazy. We'll give it
Hoodies, hoodies.
hoodies everywhere. We'll give it maybe 10 more seconds.
And you will get to choose which one you want.
Yep. Assuming we have your size. Okay. So we will pick a winner as soon as it's sent. Actually, Jason with the hair was wearing, you like that? It's going to
With the
kill
hair.
me later. He was wearing the Nord one earlier, and it has like a really fuzzy hood.
It's got that nice Sherpa.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
I don't know.
Sherpa?
It's not real. Not real fur. Okay, just waiting for winter. There we go. Max Love,
Congrats, Max.
congratulations. As usual, Kai will actually be in touch with you on Twitch, so make sure you check the other tab in your Twitch chat and go ahead and send him your information. We'll get that shipped out to you next week. So next up, we are going to do our Life at Sauce segment, where we're going to be speaking with writer-designer Zach Bush. Hi, welcome.
Hey.
You appear.
Yes, indeed.
So this is Zach. He is our writer-designer here at Sauce. As with every Life at Sauce segment, we will be taking questions from Twitch chat. If you have any questions for Zach about what he does here, well, I guess just what you do here. Anything else, really?
Design, add flavor to the justice system.
Pretty much, yeah. Lots of writing, lots of designing.
I guess to help with these questions, why don't you start off telling people what you do on the ESO team?
I'm a writer-designer, and what I do is I do a lot of the dialogue in the game. I'll write basically anything that involves text in the game, right?
What is this? I just saw that.
Lawrence couldn't be here himself, but he sent what I believe he called a homunculus. So yeah,
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
With
Go ahead.
No. Yes, indeed. This is the lore approval, I think, is what he was trying to say. So, I write anything that involves player-facing text in the game. What that means is dialogue and quests, any of the books that you find in the world, any of the flavor items that you'll find, like if you're stealing from somebody, pickpocketing for somebody, or perhaps killing them in the new justice system. I wrote a lot of those. So, along with the rest of the writing team. Yes, exactly.
Great.
All that stuff.
Nice.
All right. So, how did you end up becoming a writer for video games? It's always an interesting story path when we talk to people.
Yeah, it was actually it was a lot of luck. I ended up back when I was involved in pen and paper role-playing games. I did a lot of writing for the Facet Corporation for Shadowrun, and basically White Wolf. I did a lot of work on Exalted, so it was a lot of fun. Time passed, and I ended up actually from some old friends in the pen and paper industry. They had mentioned that there was an opening at BioWare Austin. And I said, yeah, that sounds pretty neat. They said, here's how it works. Here's a test you have to take. You basically have to show that you can actually do it. So here's what you need to do: pop open the Neverwinter Nights editor and put together a module, send it to BioWare Austin. And so I did, and it was a lot of fun. And they contacted me and said, this was great. Can you do another one?
Wow.
I said, sure. I mean, nothing's going to come of it, but whatever. It was a fun couple of days. Did that. Then they said, okay, we're going to give you a 48-hour test where you have to do. We're going to give you a topic on like Friday. You have to get this to us by Sunday, and it has to be 3,000 words. Has to fit our branching dialogue model. Has to basically be the kind of thing that we would put in the game. And I said, yeah, sure. Well, I have a free weekend. Why not? And I sort of did it, thinking again, nothing's going to come of it. And that's the point where they said, we're flying you in for an interview. And I started freaking out because
it becomes more real then.
It was suddenly it was, you mean this actually can happen? I'm not going to be doing web design forever. So, but yeah, so ended up there, and I was at BioWare Austin. I came here and
worked with Win. Yeah?
Yes, worked with Win at both places. So he's our lead writer, a great guy. So and now I'm here.
Excellent. Now you're sitting in this chair.
Yes, indeed.
Answering our questions. So why don't you talk a little bit about the work that you did on the justice system?
Okay. So one of the things that we realized is that you're going to have a bunch of people who are going to be stealing, going to be killing, going to be doing all kinds of stuff, and as you're doing this, you need to have the world react to you. You need to have the citizens that are around you, the guards. They have to have something to say. And originally, it was like, okay, well, we can say stop thief. But we realized, if you're going to be playing this game for quite a long time, you're going to get very bored of the same person saying "stop thief." So we said, how many ways are there to say stop thief? And the answer, turns out, is around 720.
Oh my gosh.
So, and that's just for saying stop thief.
Wow.
So, yeah, so we basically were trying to make, the writing team as a whole tried to come up with a whole, just a huge amount of different culturally specific responses, a whole bunch of just responses that, like, were just sort of like people that you'd hear on the streets, like shouting an alarm, that sort of thing, and do it for every different category of crime. Make sure that when a guard arrested you, they had something different to say, as opposed to, just halt evildoer or something like that over and over and over again. We wanted you to, as a player, make sure that you weren't just hearing just all kinds of repetition. So, and also the stolen items, which you can randomly find on people who are walking and you're pickpocketing from, or sometimes corpses, depending on like how you play. So,
Or in houses.
Yes, or in houses and in lockboxes and people's cupboards, everything like that. So we ended up initially Doug Carroll in systems was like pushing the system, and I think he would have been excited if there were like maybe 100 different things. He thought that that would be really, really cool. And at the end of it, we ended up with around 2,200.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
it's there's a vast amount of things to steal all throughout
And each of
Tamriel.
those had to have an individual name and tooltip.
Yeah,
Wow.
every single one had to be unique, and hopefully give you as a player a better sense of kind of what's going on in the lore and in the world itself around you, which some players care about, some players don't, but for the ones who do, like, we wanted it there.
Yep.
There was a Reddit thread we saw recently where people really had a lot of fun discovering one particular item that you guys did. You know the one I'm talking about? Where it harkens back to something from, it was either a Morrowind or Oblivion, the soil.
Yeah, the vial of soil. Yeah, that's one of the purple items, and so it's fairly rare, but it's yeah. I mean, and that's what was great about coming up with these things is it's all about the value of what people are willing to pay for this stuff, and you may end up actually finding 1 or 2 or 3 vials of soil. Of this special soil from over the course of your play, but it could be that it's because someone says, "Well, this is the one, this is the real thing," and someone somewhere is willing to spend thousands of gold for it. So that's not an actual quote. I'm not quoting numbers on that. So all things are subject to change.
So, is there a particular character that you've written that you're really fond of?
I was privileged to write for some of Razumdar's lines.
Great.
I was really excited about that. But that said, I think my favorite was probably figuring out Sheagoreth. I worked with him in an objective in Grotwood. I won't say what in case you haven't played it, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. And just getting inside a Daedric Prince's head is, especially that one, is a little weird.
That had to have been fun.
Yeah. So.
So it sounds like you do a lot here. What's your favorite part of the job?
My favorite part of the job is actually working with the other teams. We have a lot of incredibly talented people here, and it's just that collaboration in game design for me is the reason that I keep coming into the office excited to do my job. So being able to work with systems, to work with audio, to work with world builders, level designers, everybody, it's fantastic. And knowing that each person brings their own type of creativity and building a larger piece of it.
It's very collaborative.
Yeah, exactly. And actually that really is the justice system itself. Like when we were just for that, we're having some play tests, and the stolen items had been, okay, well, we have this idea, we're going to have these stolen flavor items, let's throw these in. So we basically did some prototyping, and in the process, Mandy Parker, one of our other systems people, she ends up putting together just a bunch of clothes that you could steal. That wasn't even something that we were really, we said, oh, wouldn't that be neat at some point? She just drops it into this play test. Ton of us end up going in, suddenly realizing we can steal clothes from people, at which point the play test changed from let's kill everybody to how many clothes can you collect. And then somebody
Sounds about right.
somebody realizes, wait a minute, I want to see if I can dye the clothes. Goes to the dye station and realizes, oh yeah, you can totally change these. It's like, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it ends up being these like little things that build on one another, and just getting everybody involved and excited about it. I mean, you just get some really cool stuff. So
Yeah, unexpected too.
exactly.
So other than we've talked about some of the fun stuff. What would you say is one of the most challenging things you've had to work on here at Sauce?
So for me, it's just getting all the details right, all the little details, making sure that if you're going to be going through a quest, you feel like the things that you're doing make sense, that the characters that you meet are real people who live in this world, and that the place as a whole that you're in makes sense within its own context. I mean, we have talking lizard people in our game, so like you have to sort of take some stuff with a grain of salt, but at the same time, who are these people? Why are they here? What are they about? And that,
What are their lives like?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's the kind of thing that for me is incredibly challenging, but at the same time, it's
And they have to all be different.
exactly. Yeah, because you don't want to meet 5 types of the same person over
Yeah.
and over again who say the same things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what's sort of like a day in the life of being a writer designer here?
Recently, it's a lot of bug fixes because again, justice system. But typically, I would get together with my team in the morning. Not the writing team as a whole, but actually we have content teams, and as writers, we're embedded into them. We work directly with content designers, world builders, and basically encounter designers to sort of build all this stuff together. And we will typically meet at the beginning of a day to sort of see where things are going, and as we start, for example, an objective or any kind of quest content, I'll meet with a content designer and typically work with them while they're handling gameplay stuff. I'm handling the narrative stuff, and we just we'll figure out where we're going so we don't step on each other's toes, and work to make a better story together. Once we are at the point where we're like solid, we know exactly what we're doing, I will typically go off and just put my head down and just write. Put the headphones on and no distractions, and that ends up being a fairly solitary part of the job. But I mean, it has to be. You have to in order to sort of get into these people's heads and understand what motivates them, and also what the player wants and could want.
Knowing your audience, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And then I guess towards the, a couple times a week, the writing team as a whole will meet, and we will just, if there's any larger issues, we will just bring them up and deal with that. The justice system stuff was actually a lot of fun because the writing team was actually getting together regularly to, as a whole, come up with all these things that people can say in the world, all these things that you can steal, and so that just basically sort of every day, just sort of saying, hey, what did you do? Just sort of checking and seeing some of the cool things that we each of us had put in, helped us continue and get 2,500 items into, or however, whatever the number ends up being, into the game. So.
It sounds like a very creative process, but there's a lot to it as a writer. So we get asked a lot, and you might too, how do I become a writer for video games? What do I need to do? Do you have any advice for people who are looking to get into that line of work?
So basically, there are 3 things that I've generally found. You have talent, just raw natural talent. You have hard work, improving upon all this stuff, and the willingness to have deal with these crazy deadlines and get a lot of good stuff written quickly. And the third component is luck. That's the tricky part. It's sometimes it depends on you met someone 10 years ago, and we're good friends with them, and then suddenly they point you to this ad that they saw online. Like in my case, actually. Other times it's you are a person who's written for like a media company, like a gaming news site, or even just like a classic journalism, comic books, things like that. And you end up actually just transitioning over. But a lot of it really is just doing work.
Yep.
like putting stuff out there, like working on mods and putting out mods. If you yourself don't know how to actually make, do the technical aspect of a mod, finding someone who does, who can do the framework of that, and then you can do the writing for it. Yeah, there's a lot of really neat creative stuff out there that is freely available that people have just done and released. And those are the kinds of things that, I mean, it gives you the experience of dealing with these large projects and understanding here are the pitfalls. Like, is this something I actually want to do? Is this something I can do? And just answering these questions for yourself. So that's generally what I'd recommend. There's no one way.
Right.
There's no easy way. But yeah, it's keep at it.
Okay.
So.
Good advice.
Yeah.
So what are you currently working on for ESO? Are you allowed to talk about it?
I believe so. So I have recently been working on bugs, as I mentioned. What I will soon be working on is guild content. I believe I'm allowed to say Thieves Guild content and perhaps Dark Brotherhood Guild content. So
Exciting.
that will be soon.
That'll be your next project.
nice.
Yes.
Exciting.
Yes, very.
A lot of people are looking forward to those.
We have a couple questions for you. Von Rippensnatch was asking if. Right. Did you write any of the insulting guard dialogue, both before and now with the justice system?
I wrote some insulting guard dialogue with the justice system. There are some guards that will try and pick fights with you. There are some guards who are actually kind of afraid of you. Perhaps they know your reputation. In fact, actually, that's one of the things. We try to make sure that each guard had their own personality. And actually, we worked with audio to figure out how the guards, the voice actors who were going to be playing those particular guards, because it's every voice actor in the game, were guards actually. So we ended up figuring out their personalities as people, like the kind of things that they were good at playing, and then we actually kind of wrote accordingly to that, so that they actually had a lot of fun with it. So yeah.
Do you have a favorite one-liner that you've written so far?
Boy.
But it's out of context. I can't even really go into it. There's some crazy stuff that Shiogura says that I can't do it justice. I'm sorry. It's
Go find it.
I think my favorite one-liner in the game is, "The ocean is my toilet." It's just a random guy.
I will say that there was a guy who originally was a shield vendor, I guess, when we had those, and we no longer had shield vendors. And his performance was really good on this one particular line, so we ended up finding this line and saying, "This we gotta put this in the game somehow." It's a really funny line. We ended up sticking him in one of the caves in Grotwood, and he just gives you all this advice on why shields are amazing and why you should buy them. And I think we added in the line, "Do you sell shields?" And the response, "No." And that made me very happy that I could stay in the game. So
Kai just messaged to me, "Surprise me, say something intelligent," and I hope that he's not saying that to me, that's a guard line. There's one person saying, "If you're the one who wrote all the justice item descriptions, thank you, thank you, thank you." And there's apparently an appreciation thread on the forums.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm not the one person who wrote all the justice items. The whole writing team.
It was a team effort.
Put this and just did some really great work.
We'll have to find that thread and send it over to you guys.
Yeah.
It's certainly appreciated. Feedback is always welcome. So.
We sort of have a tradition now. Whoever is in the hot seat has to put something on their head, and they really want you to put the fez on your head.
Well, that's the thing. This is Lawrence's fez, and I'm not entirely sure.
Special fez.
Special fez.
Will it turn you into a wizard?
I don't know. Actually, I didn't check before I came here. I can try, but yeah.
Oh man, look out!
All right, let's see.
Yeah.
Is it?
It looks
good?
magnificent.
Okay. That actually brings something up. There's been a series of questions that I've asked the lore master, Lawrence Schick, over the past 2 years now. very strange questions and learned some things about Tamriel that I wouldn't otherwise know. I was wondering if I could perhaps read some of them.
Yes, please.
Yes, yes.
All right. These are questions that I've actually asked.
Lawrence knows everything.
Yes, he does. It's
He
a little
does.
scary.
So the first, this is actually, for the test lore folks. Is there a name Argonians use to describe their societies fall into a dark age? And the answer is Duskfall. I had no idea, but
The more
that's
you
what
know.
it is. What kind of pants do Tamrielic sailors wear? Now, I know that they wear pants. I knew that they wear pants at the time. The question was, what do we call the pants? And the response is slops or breeches.
There's actually an answer to this?
Yeah.
There is. There's an answer to
There's an
every
answer to
single
all
one
of
of these.
these.
There's an answer to everything.
Is a scathing girdle appropriate as a torture device used by Dremora? The answer is yes.
These are the conversations we have in the hallways.
This is
here.
normal. Everything is normal.
This is a regular day. So, what is the name for a male courtesan? The answer is a night swain. And then finally, does the spice we call cardamom have a different name in Tamriel? His answer was no. That is, in fact, the most random lore question I've ever received. Kudos. So, achievement
Nice.
unlocked, I guess. So,
Chat's completely nerding out right now. They're loving it.
Those are great. We should include those in every ESO live.
Yeah. Random Lawrence.
Random Lawrence.
Lore questions.
Lore bits.
there have been some rather strange
segment.
ones. Yeah. So.
Nice. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
very
joining
much.
us.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks
This
for
was
having
fun.
me.
And
guys.
thanks for
Yeah.
answering the questions
Yeah.
and those little lore tidbits.
Yes.
Those are great. I will never forget them. So next up, we'll let you head back to work, and
Okay.
we're going to show off some fan creations from you, our players. So every week we look on fan sites, the official ESO forums, for fan creations. That could be anything from art to music to cosplay. And this week we've gathered some to show you. So let's take a look at some of the new ones. So this is Return of the Weremarg by Demorta on Tumblr.
Nice.
He looks a little bit like Hulk. I like it.
I think this one was actually created on... No, it wasn't. What's going on here? Oh my gosh. Here we go. So yeah, this is a werewolf drawing,
Oh, cool.
as we said. I'm not an artist. I don't know what to say.
Werewolf orc, clearly.
Yes.
And you better run.
Here is Tesso Aldmeri Elf by Tap Tap Cosplay. This was found on DeviantArt. So this is actually a German cosplayer who's been doing this since 2013.
That's a great costume. I like
Yeah.
the weapon.
I like even the scenery looks really cool in the background, even though we're not supposed to be looking at the background.
This is a High Elf Nightblade by Kynesgrove. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. The character name is Kynesgrove. This is by Toxic Civ HD on DeviantArt.
Yep.
So this one was actually created on paper originally, and then Toxic finished it off in Photoshop.
I like the style of this.
I do too.
Kind of fun. This is Jobran the Scald King drawing by Ormace on DeviantArt. This is actually a work in progress sketch of his character. It sounds like the artist noted that he has some trouble with mouths, so the beard was actually drawn to help cover it up.
I think beards are a good solution for everything.
Sure, why not? Sing it. Sing it.
Banana do 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 do. by Guartist on Tumblr. This,
Wartist, that's awesome too.
so this is a sketch of Manamarco. I really like the painterly style and the song that went along with it.
It's going to be stuck in my head the rest of the day now. This is Smirky Face by, Bianca I think we've had this one before, and we sat here for a while figuring it out.
Bianca Ariana Jung.
Ariana Jung. So, yeah, smirky
I really
face
like the
from little
necklace.
Khajiit.
This is Altmer by Pigeon on DeviantArt. It's very nice shading on the hair there.
I think this is actually a drawing of their own character
Okay.
in game. This is Argonian Assassin by Antar0178, found on DeviantArt. This is actually a commission piece, a digital painting of an Argonian female assassin. Very, very nice. I'd be quite pleased if I
Yeah, I
received
like
this
that
as
one.
my commission piece.
Really nice shading.
Yeah.
All right, so that wraps up our fan art. Thank you all so much for sending that in. As I mentioned before the segment, we're always on the lookout for more, so keep them coming. And next up, we're going to talk to video creator and live streamer Deltia. So give me one sec here.
Deltia, are you there?
I'm here.
There he is.
Hello.
Hey, how you
Thank
doing?
you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
It's cool to finally get to talk to you rather than just watching the streams.
Yeah, just patiently watching you. As just mentioned, you are a streamer and also a video creator.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I do both YouTube, Twitch, even do podcasting, tellsoftamriel.com. So keeping busy in all things Elder Scrolls Online.
That's awesome.
That's great. So tell us a little bit about your journey. You've been with us for a while. When did you start playing ESO, and how much time per week do you typically dedicate to live streaming and creating videos?
I spend a lot of time every week. So my journey basically started 15 years ago playing MMOs. I'm a TES fan at heart. I started playing Morrowind, and I was just blown away at what you could do in that game. I remember fighting Vivek, a god, one of the living gods of the Dunmer, and it was just amazing that you could interact with the guards, and it was your world. And so I've always been a fan. And then recently I've been playing other MMOs, Star Wars: The Republic, and I got tired of having one character that could only do one thing, whether it's DPS, tank, or heal. And what attracted me to Elder Scrolls Online was the fact that you could do anything with one character, no matter what class you were.
And you can switch it up.
And you can switch it up. So if you get tired of tanking, you get tired of DPS, and you don't have to re-roll a whole new character and spend all that time. You can really just pick one character and get really good at it and enjoy it, even though I have four of all of them. So that's what really attracted me to Elder Scrolls Online.
Okay.
So how much time per week do you typically dedicate to live streaming and making videos?
I didn't really want to answer that question a lot. So basically every day we have Corpses and Coffee with myself and the Mav Show from about 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So I stream for about 3 hours. Then I work on writing guides or testing out builds for a few hours, hang out with the family, do that type of thing. And then at nights I kind of do the competitive either PvE, PvP type stuff. Just kind of like my time where, I'm hanging out with a few friends and we're doing stuff not on stream or YouTube, just kind of my own time. So you're talking a lot of time in game.
Well,
a lot.
I can tell you have a lot of fans in chat right now. They are
That's
just
nice. Yeah, they're
loving
great.
you.
What are you doing, the slash kowtow? So you've been live streaming and making videos for ESO for about a year now, give or take. What would you say are some of your favorite memories making those?
Well, I mean, it's been a year, but most recently, I think Gina was there for this. We were on the PTS PvP and testing out some new builds. And earlier in the day, we were messing with Meteor. I remember you guys were talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were talking about how the Meteor changed, right?
Yep.
And so we just freaked when we used it. And so we're in PvP, and some red comes up when I'm typing in the chat, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I got Meteor up. I clicked it, and boom, his body just blows up, and he like insta dies. Everyone lost it.
It was fun.
And another part of streaming, I think, that I didn't understand early on is that it's a community thing, and I learn so much. I learn more than I teach, really. And so another really cool moment was a couple people in the chat room, D-Ride and Anomaly, who helped me out with the Nightblade. And so I was learning how to use shades. It's a really cool teleport ability that's awesome in 1.6. But they were telling me, hey, put your shade up and you can jump off the tower and go back and zip up and they can't kill you. I'm like, okay. So I tried doing that, and I made like a highlight video basically of when I started making the shade and doing it into like later in the day after some help, becoming pretty proficient at it. So that was kind of cool to see the progress and how the chat room can help you grow as a player. And it's about community. It's about us learning from each other.
Totally.
Yeah, I've noticed that the most popular live streamers, the ones that are the most fun to watch, are the ones that interact the most with their fans. And you definitely do that a lot.
It's really hard. At first, like I didn't understand what live streaming was. I thought you just got online and you started playing and that was it. But realistically, once I started looking at what the good people do, they make you feel a part of the game.
Yeah.
They make you feel like I don't have to answer every question, but when something comes up, someone really legitimately wants to know and answering it, you feel like it's you playing or you're a part of the team. And when someone did that for me, I was like, whoa. That's what live streaming is.
Yep.
And so I try to do the same thing. And, I can't answer every question because it's beginning to get pretty popular. But my mods help me out a lot, like the Mav Show, Pink Latex, Java Who. A lot of those folks are really helpful in helping us answer because we're seeing a lot of new players come in.
Yeah.
So the change to Vitaplay is definitely attracting a lot more people. And we want it to be easy to transition coming back or being brand new to this game.
Cool.
So why don't you talk a little bit about your latest ESO video project, Tamriel A to Z?
Yeah, so Tamriel A to Z, I'm kind of at endgame, and I get a lot of feedback that I try to listen to my feedback, and a lot of people were saying, hey, you're doing all this VR14 super high-end endgame stuff, but we're not there yet, and we still enjoy your content. And then the Vitaplay was announced, and I'm like, you know what? There's going to be so many more players in here. I don't think there's enough YouTube guides on literally going from step A to B, whether it's doing the tutorial, which now I have to redo since you guys changed it. And then also like setting up your UI, how to install an add-on, how to tune your health bars, anything, and then how to equip gear. Why is gear important? What does it do for you? How to fight in a dungeon? How to group? Just everything. And so I wanted to do start to finish. And basically, there's some edited videos that are 10 minutes long, and there's a couple hour videos where I'm actually playing on my level 10. So there's something for everyone, I think.
We definitely appreciate those. Getting into a new MMO can always be kind of a daunting experience, especially if you've never played one.
Yeah, and this game is way different, and I think that's the great part about it is I can't go back to another MMO where I don't block, I don't dodge roll, I don't sprint. It feels so active, the combat does, and especially 1.6. I know we're going to get to that, but wow, the combat animations it's just so much more crisp and clean. I don't know what you guys did to the graphics, but it just looks beautiful.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to hear that you think that. We're pretty excited for Update 6 too. And yeah, I know the animation guys have been working really hard on basically making everything feel a lot tighter, have more weight to it. Awesome. Well, so obviously you're playing on Update 6. We've been watching some of your videos and live streams here. So what's your next Update 6 videos that we can look forward to seeing?
I think I'm going to have 2 Monday, which is one that's going to be on the justice system. Now, you had the developer on talking about it, but like for players, showing them how to level the skill line, why it's valuable to level the skill line, and actually show them how to do it. Some of a written guide and a video guide, basically explaining the justice system. Rockma has been really helpful in tuning this and finding out the mechanics behind it. So I learn a lot from the community, and that's usually where my information comes from, people that have helped me and gave me the tips. So that, and then I've really been focusing on my Dragonite DPS PvP build, which is the Butcher. So I'm bringing that back. That's going to be a 2-handed meat cleaver kind of thing. My dad's a meat cutter, and so I kind of dedicated that build to my dad.
Oh, that's a nice story. That's cool.
Yeah. So he's not a gamer, believe me. He's a butcher. So I want him.
Try to explain this to him. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I'm like, Dad, there's an ability called Carve. You'd love it. He's like, oh, that's great. So I really want to do that, and I think they're going to be surprised what 1.6 brings, especially the new medium armor changes. I really like stamina.
Cool. So you touched on that you play a Dragon Knight. Did you want to talk a little bit about your main character more?
Oh, I love my Dragon Knight. Now, I play them all. I have every class VR14.
Wow.
And I did that to start
That's
the game.
dedication.
I really, I love the characters. They feel different for different reasons, and for me, it makes me understand my class better, which will always be the Dragon Knight. And the Dragon Knight is the first class, the first time I could really feel like I'm a tank the way I want to tank, which is self-healing with Green Dragon's Blood. You know, every other MMO, you're totally dependent on everyone else to heal you. And I wanted something where I could heal myself, you know, not fully, but be able in a pinch to not depend on someone. And so for me, the Dragon Knight is perfect. And if you haven't seen the new animations, dude, the new reflective scales. You guys did an awesome job. I mean, it's like a dragon hug now, is the way Parfax calls it. But so I really
know
like
what the enemy thinks of it.
No, they still hate it. They still hate it. But I love my Dragon Knight. He's a Nord. I play in the All-Dominion Dominion faction North American server, and I do plan on playing on PS4 too. So I'm excited about that to kind of get. I mean, I can't even imagine what this game is going to be like on consoles. It's going to be awesome. I mean, playing this on my couch in Cyrodiil, doing a ferocious leap and take flight. It's going to be so much fun.
Awesome. So would you say that reflective scales is currently your favorite ability?
I don't know about favorite. It looks really cool. If you haven't tested out the new skills on 1.6, Ferocious Leap, I think is how you call it, Ferocious or something like that.
Yep.
The other morph of Take Flight that wasn't getting used very often is super powerful. It looks amazing. It gives you a health shield equal to your HP. So being a stamina character, I can't heal myself a lot. But if I use my light attacks to get ultimate up, jump in there and keep that health level on me, I mean, I can really self-sustain using stamina. So it hits like a truck, it knocks people back, and it looks amazing. And what's not to love about that?
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I hope I don't run across you on the battlefield in Syria.
It was funny watching.
We might this Monday.
I will be playing against you. It was funny watching Kai, because he's finding out what I had to find out the hard way.
Yeah.
If you don't set a delay on your stream, you will have friends.
That was actually super entertaining for us.
It was.
So, where, if people want to find you online, please don't stalk him, but if people want to find you online, where can they look?
Yeah, I have my website. That's written video guide, stealthyasgaming.com. You know, I say that funny sometimes.
It's the radio voice.
Stealthyasgaming.no. And then Twitter, Deltia's Gaming, YouTube, Deltia's Gaming, Twitch, Deltia's Gaming.
I'm sensing a trend here.
Yep.
It sounds like a trend. I wanted to keep it the same. I don't know if I can post a link in, but there's a really helpful All-Dominion Dominion guild I'm in called Epic Synergy, North American faction. And if you want to join a friendly guild that's good for casual players, that's good for hardcore players, it's something you might want to look into. You can mail me in-game at DLTIA to get an invite or try it out. Also, I'll put it in here. I probably can't link anything in Twitch, but that's the best way to come hang out and play. I play a lot during the day, which I know is weird times, but we're always looking to either play against or for each other, and all the merry for the queen.
Nice. That's awesome. Do you have any closing words for everybody before we go?
I was kind of skeptical about 1.6, I'm not going to lie. And then after testing it, it feels like a brand new game. If you guys were watching my stream the first couple of days, I was like a kid in a candy store. It was
a lot of us here were watching.
I can vouch for that. It was a lot of, oh my God.
It was like re-experiencing the game. And it's just exciting that so many more people get to play this. And then so many more people get to come in and experience what we all love, which is a community. This game, if you're wondering about getting it, watch the streamers, watch how much fun we have, watch the community interact with each other and treat each other with respect and have fun. That's what it's all about. I think we get caught up in this business model or whatever. It's all about having fun, and I've never had more fun playing Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh,
thank you so much.
That was
We're really
very nice.
happy that you feel that way.
I am a fanboy, though. You guys know.
I'll tell you who else is a fanboy. Chat loves your chair, and they really want you to give it away.
That is not going to be one of my giveaways. You can have my dog Sheppy, because he likes to knock down my green screen at least once.
Oh, is he around?
He's upstairs, because I know if he was down here at 4 o'clock, it would be his turn to knock the green screen down. And
Awesome. Well, we will certainly continue watching, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
And maybe we'll see you on PTS this weekend.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I'm going straight for Kai if we're doing the... one.
All right. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye. I like him.
Yeah.
He's very nice.
He writes really good guides too.
Yeah, I've popped on a lot of his streams before, and he's just always there, streaming and excited.
And always on Twitter.
Yes.
I always get pop-ups on my phone.
Yep. All right. Well, next up, we are going to dive into some of our community events. Hello.
Hello. All right, so if you're looking for
Best
some,
intro ever. Best ever.
if you're looking for something to do this weekend in the game other than play Update 6 on PTS, there are quite a few community events going on. So let's dig into them right now. So first up, we have the gorging time if you're hungry or want to dance.
Yes and yes.
Tell stories.
Sure.
So this one's happening on Friday, January 30th. But today at 9 p.m. on the North American Mega Server at Stormhold in Shadowfen, and this is for Ebonheart Pact members. This is run by the Human Floyd. He's a big member of the RP community for ESO.
House of the Listener. This is a new one on the show. So this is happening the first Tuesday of each month for political discussion and ideas, judgments against criminals, including execution. Wow.
Uh-oh.
So this is coming up next Tuesday, February 3rd. Oh my gosh, already February.
I know.
Next week.
I know.
7:30 p.m. GMT. This is on the European Mega Server at Mournhold and City Center Stage for Ebonheart Pact members.
Next up is the ever popular Wayrest Mages Guild Lecture Nights. If you'd like to be lectured to, we all like that, right? This
my
is
favorite.
on Wednesday, February 4th and February 11th. So this is a weekly event. It happens at 7 p.m. GMT on the European Mega Server at the Wayrest Mages Guild. This is for Daggerfall Covenant members.
Coremount Story Circle. I'm quickly just trying to read. This is going to be next Wednesday, February 4th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on the North American Mega Server. Sounds like it's for the people of Coremount to foster some relationships between the locals, outsiders, and the clan. You want to meet, obviously, in Coremount, the middle level of the Central Tree Spire for Aldmeri Dominion.
Next up, we have the Woodhearth Tavern. This is on the North American Mega Server at the Improbable Cutlet in Woodhearth, Aldmeri Dominion. This is on Wednesday, February 4th and Wednesday, February 11th, both at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And this is also a weekly event. So all are welcome, even those who don't follow the Green Pact.
Next, we have Woodhearth Open Market.
A lot of events in Woodhearth.
Yes. Merchants from all over the Dominion are going to be in attendance, so you should go if you like good food and drink, the finest weapons and armor, magical spells, man, they have everything here.
Yeah.
This is Thursdays. We have one February 5th and February 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the North American Mega Server. This is for Aldmeri Dominion.
Next up is the Wayrest Fighters Guild. This is also on Thursday, February 5th and February 12th. So another weekly event on the European Mega Server at 8 p.m. GMT, 7 p.m. UK time. So this is by a group called the Fighters Guild of Wayrest. They provide training and also do expeditions. So it sounds like a fun time. They will hunt down Daedra and other beastly dangers.
The Battle for Bruma. This sounds really exciting. This is another new one. Well, it sounds like an unholy artifact from Cold Harbor has found its way to Bruma and unleashed a legion of Dremora upon the city.
Bruma needs your help.
Needs your help. Go rally. This is going to happen Friday, February 6th at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. You want to head to Cyrodiil.
Ooh.
This is for North American Mega Server.
The Festival of Release!
Whoa,
Exclamation
exclamation point.
Attend the festival for a night of horse racing, archery, hookahs, and chocolate. That does sound fun. Those who win the various competitions, including a spin at the Wheel of Destiny, will be rewarded with thousands in gold.
I really like your enthusiasm.
I might have to go to this one. This is Saturday, February 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the North American Mega Server in Fells Run. This is for Daggerfall Covenant members.
Oh boy, I'm done my wedding. So you should go to the European Mega Server in Davins Watch, Ebonheart Pack, Saturday, February 7th at 8 o'clock p.m. GMT. There's going to be a wedding. There's going to be some entertainment, dueling, food, dancing, and everybody is welcome. So you should go do that.
All right, so that wraps up our event.
I'm warming up my hands.
All right, so that just about wraps up our show, and I think we'll do one more giveaway.
One more giveaway.
All right.
Do some piggies. So with the new provisioning revamp, you actually get white meat from pigs. So our keyword is going to be white meat.
Just to clarify, you can't kill your piggy pets.
Not your pets, no. Who would do that? So we're going to be doing 3 winners for these little bristlegut piglets. There goes chat. White meat, white meat, white meat. I know what I'm having for dinner tonight. Well, this weekend,
Yes?
Super Bowl,
Mmm.
food,
Yep.
maybe some white meat. I don't know. I know we're getting chicken wings. So anyway, Keto, we don't know what to talk about.
Well, plenty of time to play on PTS too.
This is true.
Getting some time in there.
Yeah, definitely. So our first winner is little Chihuahua.
Is that the name?
Yep.
Oh, cute.
Lil with an underscore.
Congrats, little Chihuahua.
First winner of a bristlegut piglet pet.
No, I want to say little Chihuahua and a bristlegut piglet pet running around together.
Our second winner is going to be Twitch NYC. Congratulations.
Congrats.
And last winner for the show, drum roll. That's yours.
Angelino. Yeah.
Angelino. Congratulations. I think I've actually seen that guy in the forums, posting a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Well, if it's you, thank you.
Congratulations.
So as before, Kai will be contacting you on Twitch. Check your other tab. Make sure you're not missing his messages. And we will email those out to you. Maybe today, maybe early next week, but soon, our favorite word. It's not a stream unless we use soon.
All right, so that wraps up our show for today. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed all of our segments, and especially with Chris and Zach.
Yep.
We hope we'll see you on the PTS to play Update 6 this weekend.
So our next show is going to be Friday, I need a weekend. February.
You're in luck.
Friday the 13th. Exciting.
Ooh. And
It's gonna
please
be
tell
good.
us what you thought of this show. You can go to the forums and let us know.
Yep, indeed. We will be looking out for comments, suggestions, whatever.
Questions.
Yep. We do want to continue seeing any of your fan creations, whether it's drawings, videos, maybe some merchandise pictures. We really like seeing that. So,
So thank you,
Yep,
and we'll
thanks.
see you in Tamriel.
have a great weekend.
Bye.